It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Welcome, amazing one.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm excited.
So, one of the main things that we are really focused on is this idea of being put in these boxes, these really tight, really beautiful boxes. And you are such a profound example of multifaceted, multi-ability, multi-dimensional, and what that can look like. So while we could sit here and talk about all those things, actress, designer, entrepreneur, producer, director, the list goes on, I really want to focus right now at this moment in time, given how important it is, on your philanthropic work and what that means.
Yeah.
Because while so many women can't necessarily have a foundation, they can have a who. They can have a who they do what they do for. And so how do we think about that? So that's where I'd love to start off. What have you built and what inspired you to build it?
Yeah, the Eva Longoria Foundation was built in response to people who fall through the cracks. And there's two pathways to success. There's the private sector and there's the public sector. And the public sector is government and schools and banking, and there's traditional ways in which we should have an infrastructure of opportunity. When that infrastructure is not available to everybody, i.e. women, people of color, people of a different socioeconomic status, that's where private foundations come in and try to help those people. The problem that's happening is too many people are falling through the cracks of a public form. And so we have to continue to fight to change policy at every level in order for women and people of color to have economic mobility. And so that's what the foundation really wanted to focus on, is making sure not only women, but Latinas specifically, women from the Latino community, have access to opportunity and the same access that everybody else would have. And we do it two ways, through educational programs and entrepreneurial programs. And just making sure something as simple as hearing the word university and college early in your life. I mean, there's so many households that they've never heard that word till they get to become a senior in high school. And by that time, it's too late. And they're like, wait, what? College is something that happens?
That's even an option?
Yeah,
right.
They didn't know it. And so we want to make sure Latinas reach their full potential, and we want to tap into that potential as a future talent pool for our country.
And it's also such an important group to accelerate because they're 6x the national average in terms of opening up businesses. So if we're thinking about what does it take to build, and build the future of this country, that's who we've got to rally around too. It's a business imperative. It's an economic imperative. It's not just a...
No, people think that. They think, Latinos are the fastest growing demographic in the United States. We have $2 trillion worth of buying power. But what people don't realize is we're not just consuming products, we're actually creating jobs as well.
Right.
Latinas are one of the most entrepreneurial groups in this country. And so they're ambitious and they're driven and they're excited, but they keep coming up obstacles and barriers in a systematic way that has to be fixed. And so what we do at the Eva Longoria Foundation is to help them jump over those barriers, get through those barriers, knock down those barriers. But I think the ultimate goal is for there not to be a need for the Eva Longoria Foundation, that those barriers are not there.
Right, exactly. There's the access to capital. There are all these other variables
Business
that
training.
are traditional kind of obstructions.
Yeah.
So I just read that you had an interesting partnership, great partnership with Century 21.
Yeah. We have a great partnership with Century 21, which is going to train Latinas, young Latinas, to become real estate agents, what that industry looks like, how can they succeed. And it's important that corporate structures understand it's their responsibility to give back to the people who consume their products, to the people who use their products. Like, you have to pay attention to your customers and nurture them, other than trying to sell them something.
That's right. So did you come out of the womb as a born leader, or did you have to learn to become one?
The answer is probably yes, only because I was born into a family of very strong women. And so, I had 9 aunts, I have 3 sisters. I have a very strong mother. Everybody's educated in my family. I come from a family of educators, a lot of teachers in my family. So the word university, the word college, all of that was like ingrained in me. Independent, I knew what that meant. Early, I knew, you're gonna be an independent woman. You're gonna make your own money. You're gonna find your own way. So I always knew I would be successful. Like I was like, oh, I know I'm gonna be successful. I don't know what I'm gonna do,
right?
But I know I'm gonna be good at it.
Whether as a designer or something else.
If I wanted to be a dentist, I was gonna be the best dentist that you ever heard of.
I love that. So within that matriarchal group of women, and I love, like I'm imagining all these aunts and a strong mom and very opinionated group. Was there someone within that who you looked up to the most? Can you remember the first woman you looked up to and why you wanted to be like her?
Yeah, my mother. I mean, my work ethic comes from my mom. Every time people tell me, oh, you do so much, I'm like, I'm not doing enough, because my mom was a powerhouse. I mean, she raised 4 girls. My oldest sister has special needs. She had a full-time job. She drove us. She was a human taxi, and she had dinner on the table every day at 6 p.m. for my dad. Everything was always homemade. Everything, I don't know how she did it. And when I look back, I've never had to look far for role models. I think today there's a trend like your role model is a famous person. and in my days, that word celebrity didn't even really exist. I mean, it wasn't a thing. So the people I looked up to were people in my immediate surroundings, my mom, my sisters, my teacher, I don't think you have to look far.
I love that you say that, because one of the things that keeps coming up with our women is, well, I just don't have a mentor. When I get that mentor, when I have, and reach within kind of those immediate circles.
We do a lot of mentorship at the Eva Longoria Foundation, and what I do hear a lot is women saying, I don't have a mentor, I haven't found a mentor. You have to seek that person out. And when you do not waste their time. Have your questions ready. Tell them exactly what you need to extract from them. I want to know, how do I get my foot in the door in this industry? I want to know, what obstacle did you face that I could possibly avoid? I want to know, how can you balance family? Be very specific with your mentors. If you think they're just going to hold your hand and you're going to have coffee every month, it's a waste of both your times.
That's right.
Have your questions ready and have a goal of, this is what I need to get out of my mentor. And that's when you'll find your right mentor.
So kind of hard right turn, greatest risk you've taken. You've taken so many, but what is the singular greatest one?
I think moving to Hollywood. Yeah, I was 21. I had just graduated college, and I never aspired to be an actress. Literally one day I said, I think I'm gonna be an actor. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I felt this guiding power. I had $22 in my bank account.
Oh my goodness.
I knew nobody in LA. I never even flew out of Texas. Like, I was just like, okay, what do I do? And you figure it out. And I think that's probably one of my superpowers, is my resourcefulness. I said, I'll get a job. I will find an apartment. I'm going to figure out how to be an actor. What happens first? I'm gonna go take a class. I'm gonna go take a course. I'm gonna go take a workshop. I approached it as a business, what do I have to do? And that's really how I learned, you have to touch every rung of the ladder as you're climbing up to your goals. You can't skip a rung. Then you missed that lesson.
And if you also assume that everything's figure-outable and you have a growth mindset, then the jungle gym of it all becomes fun too.
Yeah, but that's also a lesson my mother taught me, was figure it out. Like, I remember being 6 and going, Mom, I'm hungry. And she goes, well, you better figure that out. And I learned how to cook, because she was so busy, and even though she had dinner on the table, sometimes I had to make my own lunch and I had to make my own breakfast, and it was a really great lesson, because I would be in college and I say, Mom, I can't afford, the next semester. You better figure it out. And that was like the big lesson. And so that's what I think is really key to a lot of women is you've gotta be resourceful.
We are our mother's daughters. You are your mother's daughter. So what makes you doubt yourself, and how do you navigate through that doubt?
I don't doubt a lot.
No?
I don't have a lot of self-doubt.
Wow.
I am glass half full. I'll do it. I get scared.
Yeah.
Like I go, oh my God, why did I say yes? But I don't doubt my ability. And if I don't know it, I will learn it. And so when I started directing, I remember saying yes to directing something and immediately going, I want to take those words back. Why did I say yes? And then going, all right, well, let me learn what that means and figuring it out and doing well and faking it till I made it.
So when do you know when to leave someone or something?
The situation, you mean? Yeah.
It could be a person, it could be a situation, but just the knowing, okay, this is not for me. It's time to move on.
Having emotional intelligence has to be harnessed, right? You have to really
Cultivate it.
Cultivated and harnessed
That's so
and
true.
nurtured, because that's what helps you have natural instincts later in life. And so I think doing a lot of self-work, I read a lot of books. I don't read fiction. I read a lot of books and memoirs and self-help books and psychology books, and just to really understand how people think and staying true to your course and your authentic self and your soul and your purpose. I think once you start to get focused in on that journey of your journey, then people who don't service that really are easy to spot.
Super clear.
Super clear.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you are not on this journey with me. And not only are you not on this journey, you're trying to impede this journey. Whether you're negative or whether you're envious or jealous or not supportive. And that could be a husband. That could be your relationship. That could be your best friend.
Right.
Or it could be an acquaintance. And that's easy. Because then you go, oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go this way.
It's so interesting because I think we innately as women have that it is so within us.
Yeah.
And so much of what we've been taught to do is the silencing. And it's almost an unlearning of, I need to listen to this. This is something that I really need to pay attention to. And that emotional quotient, the emotional IQ is gonna increasingly become a differentiator as we move to this tech-enabled society. These soft skills that we have as women too are really special and unique.
Yeah, I
love
really
that.
think so.
I love that you said
yeah,
that.
and I do think women's instincts, there's nothing like a woman's instinct. It's just making sure you follow it.
Yeah.
And I think women know. Women know when that's a bad situation, that's a bad person, that's a bad relationship. So my advice is when that red flag is raised, pay attention, because you're probably right.
Right. So how do you practice being brave?
God, I don't know. Those are good questions. Should be laying
We're trying
down.
to go. Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. I think I need to step up in order to be seen. I need to step up to be heard. I also had a really great mentor. Dolores Huerta was one of my early mentors in life. And she had told me early on, one day you're going to have a voice and you better have something to say. So what are you going to say? And I was like, why would I have, what do you mean? I didn't understand what that meant at the time. And
Wow,
so,
is that powerful?
Yeah, and I was like, why would I have a voice? She's like, everybody has a voice. And you have to think, what do you want to use that voice for? What do you want to say? What is worth hearing in the future? And that's what really inspired me also to go back and get my master's, because I always use education as a tool. When I was hiring a publicist, I read books on publicity because I said, I need to know how to ask a publicist what. When I was directing, I was like, I'm gonna read some books on directing. Like, I've always devoured knowledge and I've always been very curious. And so that knowledge empowers me to be brave. And so I think that's always been my route to like, how can I be brave in this room, in this pitch, on this set? And it's always come back to, are you prepared? Are you confident in your preparation? Are you confident in your knowledge of this particular craft, whether it's acting or directing or activism or speaking in Congress or speaking to a women's group? Like, I'm only confident and brave if I know what I'm doing.
And being clear on what you step into. Because what I love about you is you say, no to so much.
Yeah.
So you are laser light focused like an arrow. When you do something, it's with intention and conviction, and there's a very clear through line also, which is something a lot of women could do a lot more of.
Yeah, women, we tend to say yes to everything and everybody, and specifically family and kids and husbands and jobs. Like, yes, 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 I'll do it.
And then you're a pancake on the
Yes,
floor.
and then you're like, why did I say yes?
And resentful.
Yeah, and you don't enjoy it. And resentful is the opposite of grateful.
That's right.
And so even like as I was coming here, I'm like, I'm so grateful I get to have this conversation, because that means hopefully it'll help somebody, right? You have to approach every scenario like that. So once you stop being grateful and you become resentful for, why am I at this PTA meeting? Why did I volunteer for this thing?
Right.
Why am I sewing my kid's outfit? Like then life starts to get bumpy. And learning how to say no was freeing.
Yeah.
And the anxiety was immediately gone. Because when I say yes, it's something obviously very special and near and dear to my heart. If I do everything, I'm not really doing anything.
Right.
And
you're
so,
completely splintered.
Yeah.
Right.
And the voices, the voices becomes noise.
That's right.
As opposed to something laser focused. And that's why I said I want to help specifically Latinas and specifically in this way. And that's when I knew I could create sustainable, effective change. Right? Oh, this will really make a difference. And then that change becomes a multiplier. And that woman takes it back to her community or her family and teaches other women. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Because I can't do everything, but I definitely can help somebody that helps somebody that helps somebody that helps somebody. And that was more exciting to me.
Right. And we hold up half the sky, but I think what is so powerful here is this group of women, they're going to take it back to their own, like you said,
their
families,
families.
communities, and extend it out.
Yeah.
So knowing what you know now, was all of this worth it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm also, women are natural multitaskers. And so, if you talk to any woman, every woman's a multi-hyphen, person, because they're doing so many things. It's not easy, but it's worth it, right? So that's why I'm like, everybody goes, why do you like flying? And I go, because I like the destination. Like, it's not like I love flying, but I love that, I wake up and I'm in Paris. Oh, I get to go to Dubai. And so sometimes I think we have to understand this is the journey because it's a means to an end.
Right. And the life we want is on the other side of fear, which I think there's this idea of you're going to love, and you should love the journey. You should love that whole process. You really should.
And if you don't, you're on the wrong path. If you don't like the process that you're going towards, every time I'm directing and I'm prepping, it takes months of prep before you direct something. I love it.
There should be joy in that process.
I love it. I'm like, so it's a creative, it's feeding me. It's like, I love it. And there's times where I have to prep something else to do something else. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And that's when I realized I should have said no to this particular situation because I'm not enjoying the journey.
So bringing it back to the foundation and your philanthropy, what do you see yourself building next there?
We are on the cusp of a revolution with Latinas in business. And I'm really excited about it. We have amazing programs in business training that allows young Latina entrepreneurs to have access to business training, to business plans, to back office, to capital, how to build a business, how to grow a business. And there is a community so hungry for that knowledge. And I think, with the foundation, you're gonna see a lot of businesses built out of it, a lot of jobs created because of it. And that excites me so much. And I've been traveling the country talking to young Latina entrepreneurs, and their ideas are amazing. Everything from like CBD oils and creams to, clothing lines, to cleaning services, to restaurants, to research and technology. I mean, there's a whole pool of untapped talent that we're gonna be able to use.
Well, if we can help with skill building and giving any tools to your community too, we'd love to with our courses or anything that we can be of service to.
Every time I talk to women, they're so hungry for knowledge, and I keep telling them, it's out there.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and it's free, right? There's a lot of places. there's a lot of nonprofits and organizations that really want women to succeed and will help you.
And you don't need your MBA, and you don't need
MBA,
these other things.
You don't be intimidated by the process.
I love that.
And again, just learn it, digest it, read websites, read books, talk to people. The other big thing that young women have to do is get their credit in order. And I think what women don't realize is your credit is your passport into the financial world. And so whether it's student loans or credit card debt or your mortgage, whatever it is, clean it up, because you cannot start that business without that passport, right? Without I have a record of paying on time and I don't have a lot of debt. You have to have a little debt so they know that you are,
Actually,
paying
we're buying.
Yeah, you're buying
things,
and paying and buying and paying. And that's, I think the biggest mistake I see is people trying to start a business, but they have a mess in their own financial household. And so you've got to clean that up because that is the way into the financial world. And that was a great piece of advice that one of my mentors gave to the foundation. And so many women go, oh, because they're so focused on, I want to build a business and I created this thing and I want to do this thing. And you gotta get your credit right. Mm-hmm.
Get it right.
Get it right before you start that. The other thing, I see a lot of young women in the foundation, especially women of color, constantly tell me, when I'm pitching to investors or when I'm talking to a bank for a loan or when I'm talking to a venture capitalist, they don't understand me because I'm a woman or I'm a person of color and maybe they don't understand the product. And my advice to them is put your big boy pants on.
And put your numbers on the board.
Yeah, well that, but also put your white privilege pants on.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, because
that's right.
They're
Step
not
into
gonna,
that room that way.
They're not going to understand what you're saying and what you're doing, but they will understand a business, right? They'll understand a profit and loss. So it's your job to be the expert. So be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Because so many women walk in that room so intimidated, they're not gonna get it, and I'm a woman, and you cannot take that victim stance. You've gotta walk into that room, have your mojo, put your white male privilege pants on, and go, I'm meant to be here, I deserve to be here, and let me tell you something about this product. And that's helped a lot of women go, oh, okay. Women want permission sometimes. And so I always tell them, I'm giving you permission to be great.
Do it.
Just go and do it. Yeah.
Love it. Mm-hmm. 3 words or less.
3 words or less.
You're just gonna hit me.
I'm gonna hit you?
You're gonna hit me. No, you're gonna hit me with whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
First thing that comes to mind. Okay, what do you most value in others?
Humor.
What do you most value in yourself?
Compassion.
What holds you back?
Nothing.
Ooh. One thing you're afraid of?
Heights.
Control. One thing you'd change about yourself?
Taller? Do I want to be taller? No, one thing I change about myself? I don't know what I would change about myself. I'm not saying I'm perfect,
no, but
I am fine with what I got.
Yeah. What is your biggest vice?
Wine, if that's a vice.
That's a good one. What keeps you sane?
Wine?
Something you wish you would have kept doing?
Sewing. I sew a lot, and I haven't had a lot of time to do it.
Something you wish you would have stopped sooner?
Wearing those low jeans, the super low rise. That was the zipper was this big.
Yeah, that's not good.
That wasn't good for anybody.
What keeps you going and building?
My son.
Thank you. I am grateful to you for doing this. So thank you for saying you're grateful for being here. This means the world.
Yes, no, I was so grateful. I was really excited.
Love this.
Thank you so much.
So much.